Question everything in pursuit of your purpose. Ask yourself, what if?
Well, thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the Pursuit of Purpose podcast. We've gone live today for a very special episode, but first let's do the introductions. I'm Rob.
I'm Chuck.
And today we have with us
Jenn, Mack, Raphoon.
Jenn, Mack, Raphoon. Now, Jenn is a very special guest because she has done something with herself that not everyone's willing to do. She has laid herself out as a sacrifice, offering herself up for public office. And, you know, people in the public, they think about this concept of running for public office as though it's some big prestigious, you know, thing or whatever. And the truth of the matter is that it's an act of great service.
Yes.
And how has that been so far? Like this is so new to you, right?
It is, and I'm coming at it like our founders did, in that I'm not actually running to persuade people to vote for me. I'm running to offend them into action and activate them to take this government back for themselves. And so that has been new to many people.
Offend them into action. So that's really cool. I like that. So how do you start out? Like, so you want to get me to vote for you? You start talking about my mama? Is that what you do? Like you just like you say I'm fat or like I'm going bald? Like what's the tactic there?
The first thing is just personal responsibility to say we are here because of our own doing. And so we can't blame the politicians. We can't blame other people. Once we take that responsibility for ourselves and say, hey, we did this, the generation before us, our current one, we need to take personal responsibility, repent where we need to repent, forgive others. There's a lot of things that happened during COVID. If you need to get your family back in order, whatever you need to do, deal with those things. And then let's start fresh and actually create something new.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's
Not
really
many
good.
people do, because then they're like, we didn't do this.
No.
Well, we do have a problem in our society, and Chuck and I, we do some live shows on Tuesdays, and we talk a lot about this. We have a big problem with shirking responsibility or trying to get out of accountability or having a mindset of being a victim or entitlement.
Yes.
And those things are offensive to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you're definitely gonna fly in the face of those mindsets
Yes.
with that type of an attitude. And I really like that
Right.
because this nation was never ever founded on escaping accountability.
That's
No.
right. That's
No.
right. No, we're at our best when we are a people of restoration. Let's
Yes.
put it back right.
That's right.
And to take it further than that, not just this nation, but this state.
Yes.
Yes.
This state is the pinnacle of accountability.
Yes.
We are, as Texans, and those of you out there who are not Texans, God bless you. But Texas
Bless their
is,
hearts.
yes,
Bless
bless
their
their
hearts, yes.
hearts. We love you all, and you're all welcome to come see us here in Texas, even
Yeah.
move in.
Yeah.
But don't try to change our Texas to
No.
anywhere else.
No.
But Texas it is fundamentally the, you know, come and take it state, you know,
Mhm.
and that comes with a certain amount of accountability, of bravery,
Yes.
courage,
Mhm.
Yes.
and that's what it takes to do what you're doing.
Mhm.
And well, we're proud to have you here on the show. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing your life and your time with us and with our audience,
Thank
allowing
you.
us the opportunity to get to know you better. So, Jen, where are you from?
I've been all over Texas. I grew up in the East Texas area near DeKalb, and then I spent most of my adult years over in Uvalde. before I was in
Okay.
San Antonio.
Okay. Well, say that first one again. DeKalb.
DeKalb. It's near Texarkana.
Oh, well, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
That's a very small town, isn't
Yes,
it?
It is tiny.
I hadn't heard of that one. I've been to Texarkana a lot of times.
Yeah.
Tried really hard to stay on this side of it.
Yeah.
You know, things happen when you cross over to the hills.
Yes.
You know, over
Yes.
that or those hills. But anyway, so that's where you were born? Is Northeast Texas?
No, born in Dallas. Like I said, we've lived all over Texas. Yeah, born in the Dallas area, moved out to East Texas, graduated from there, and then moved on to Uvalde.
Okay.
Raised
So-
my kids there.
What was childhood like for you? I mean, it sounds like a lot of moving.
There was a lot of moving.
So did you have siblings?
I did. Yeah, still do. Still do. I have two sisters, and they're spread throughout the country.
Okay.
And then my parents are still in Texas, and my grandmother is still in Texas.
Oh, very good. So where do you fall in the ranks of sisters? There are three of y'all.
I'm the oldest.
The trailblazer. So that kind of makes sense why you're doing what you're doing.
I was
There
the
you go.
experiment.
The experiment.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So is it the same as it is for me? Like I have a younger, and then my wife and I have a bunch of kids, and all my experience, the older is always the one who believes they got it the worst.
Of course. But it's actually, I think, the middle usually. There's the whole middle child syndrome, and then the youngest is supposed to be the easiest. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I think it's because you're the first, so that's where they practice.
Oh,
You know,
Yes.
they kind of practice everything. and
absolutely.
next
Like
one.
you said, the experimentation.
Exactly.
Like,
That's what I did with my kids. They're fine.
so I'm going to ask you some crazy questions. We ask all our guests this. What was discipline like in your childhood home?
Oh,
You
you got
catch a
your-
lot of whoopings?
Of course.
I mean, I did.
Yes.
Mhm.
And yeah, and here I am running for governor. So please, by all means, bust your kids' butt. Get them in line. Do what you
Right?
need to do.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead, Joe.
no, I just, 'cause, hey, you know, you never know what they may be inspired to do. They may try to run a state one day.
Right?
Yes,
You never
Whoop
know
'em.
what the seeds of discipline will grow.
That's
you
right.
never know.
Right.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
So, when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I thought I was going to be Indiana Jones.
Nice.
And then I really just, once I became a mom, I really just wanted to do that. I enjoyed it so much. And then I started studying the way things were going within our government. Just, it felt like small rights were being taken, but at the time I couldn't really, I couldn't really put the time into it to really understand. So I thought I might become a judge one day, and then it just kind of goes away. Your life gets busy. And so I never thought I would do this, honestly, until I felt the government, or I guess I should say, the list of grievances I feel are much more intense and longer than what sparked our declaration. And so that
Yes.
changes
Yeah.
everything for me.
You're not going to get any disagreement with me
Right.
on that.
Yeah.
We'll get into some of those policy problems here in just a little bit. And for just a little sidebar, for those of you joining us live, just so that you understand what's going to happen, we're going to go through our typical interview process with Jenn. And then towards the end, we're going to open up for questions from the audience, both in live in studio. We have an audience with us, and from our audience joining us throughout the good old interweb. So we look forward to that. So thank you for being a good sport with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yes.
Excited.
So how many kids do you have?
I have 3 boys,
3. Oh, boys. A
Mhm.
boy mom.
and then
Ooh.
I have 2 step children that are
Bonus.
amazing too,
Bonus.
that are bonus kids.
Yes.
And we all came together when we were already empty nesting, so the kids are already grown, and so we get to just absolutely adore them. It's so much easier. You don't have to go through the rough parts.
So there are 5 kids
Yes.
between the 2 of you.
Yes.
And are there any grandkids yet?
Yes.
How
Yes.
many?
I have 3 grandbabies right now. 3 grandbabies.
Well, I had one of the most amazing experiences yesterday. Not to be too selfish, but I don't care. I'm proud. Yesterday, one of my daughters brought my grandson,
Oh,
and he's my favorite grandson.
of course.
Yeah. And he came up here and he walked right here with me and held my hand. We walked to a sandwich shop down the road,
Mhm.
and he talked to me the entire time. We had
Wow.
lunch,
Way.
like, and one of the greatest things that I've experienced yet in this life is the privilege of being a grandparent.
Yes. Yes.
Because, well, first of all, I get vengeance on my kids
Of course.
Absolutely.
by completely wrecking whatever
Yes.
they say is okay,
100%.
going completely the opposite
Yep.
of that. So I hope you're carrying on a tradition
Of
like that.
course.
I'm going to say
Yes.
that that is a strong Texas
Yes.
value,
It
and we
is.
must carry it on.
My Nana
Yeah.
did it. We
Good.
have to keep it going.
Sure, to put you and our audience on the spot. You know why grandparents and grandchildren get along so well, right?
Tell me.
Because they have a common enemy.
No.
So kudos to your kids. Good luck with that.
Yes.
Right.
Because the grandkids will get returned to you, you
Nice.
know, as I have made them.
Yes.
Yes,
I love it.
I was in my office next door and I just kept hearing this little boy just talking. I knew he was coming.
Aw.
And oh, he's just adorable, but to talk the whole time, you
Mm.
know. And poor mama was trailing behind, just talking to Papa. I don't know what your nickname is, Rob.
Pops.
Pops.
Nice.
Well, I know he was so excited. So I know those are great times.
Yes.
Good for you.
It's so much fun.
So tell me about your kids. So you were raised in a home with structure and discipline.
Yes.
Well, first, before we do that, what did your parents do? What were their professions?
So my mom had worked, but when she married my dad, she chose to be a stay-at-home mom. And
That's a
then,
big job.
Yeah,
is.
it is.
It-
And we had a little bit of a different structure. My dad was in the Marines and also worked full-time. So he was quite a busy man, but man of God.
I did notice something about the way you described your dad and his service. Thank him
Yes.
for his service.
Yes.
But you didn't say he was a Marine. You said he well, how did you put it? You said it a particular way because they never are not a Marine.
Right.
Once a Marine,
Yeah.
always a
That's
Marine.
He's a
what-
Marine.
My husband is a Marine too.
Is
Yes.
a Marine.
But they
Thank
will tell
sir.
you
Thank
it depends on where they're at spiritually, because I've noticed, I'm telling you, my dad's a man of God, my husband, and they actually will say that's not my identity.
Okay.
It's in Christ. So I guess it just depends. But you're right. Once a Marine, always a Marine for the most part. Yes.
Oh, it's in there.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Now they will always be fit to fight, ready to go.
There you
all the
go.
time. So
There it is.
I love that. So it's
Yeah.
fascinating to me that your dad served in the Marine Corps, and now
Mhm.
you've married someone who
yeah,
also
that was
served
an
in the Marine
accident.
Corps.
I had no idea.
Oops. A fortunate accident, hopefully.
It was.
And for those of you joining us on the internet and things, Mr. Jenn is in studio with us, Mr. Raphoon, and we're glad he's with us. Thank you for your service.
Yes.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your service with her,
Yeah.
helping chauffeur her all over the state in the
Absolutely.
endeavor, because this is not a one-person game,
Right.
especially for a married person. It's both of you. If she
It is.
if she is so fortunate to serve our great state as governor, it's going to take as much a commitment out of you as it is for her.
Yes.
So thank you for that. We
Right.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody who's ever aspired to anything aspirational, but definitely public office got there by themselves. There's no
No.
way. You know,
Mhm.
and they'll tell you that. You know, even the ones we might not even agree with will tell you the same thing.
That's
I
right.
needed my family, and so
You have
good for
to.
you. And I'm pretty sure the kids are behind you, and everybody's
Yes.
like, "Go, mom, go."
You know, we sat and talked about it, and I just thought we're in an age right now where simply opposing somebody can be deadly.
Yeah.
And so I've talked to my kids. They're all military or have been, and so
Appreciate that.
I was concerned about what that would look like and if that was going to get them in any position. So we, everybody came into agreement. This is what needs to be done,
Okay,
regardless of the cost.
good. Well,
Yes.
so your kids are all military?
Mhm.
Tell me
Have
about
been.
that.
They're
Tell
not,
us about
They're
that.
not currently, but yeah, I have one that's still in the military. My oldest one served in the Army, and my middle one went to the Marine Corps, and now he's in the Navy because the Marines don't like to play with broken toys. So, my youngest one went to the reserve for a short time, but then had a medical thing with his eyes and ended up having to leave. So, yeah, they've all been there. So,
Well, thank you for raising responsible enough kids that they wanted to serve their nation.
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
That's amazing.
They got butt whoopings too, though.
Good for them. Good
how
for
that
them. You know, one of my greatest mentors was my pastor growing up.
Oh yeah.
And one of the things that he always said, boats and children are very similar. They're both best when steered from the rear.
There it
Nice.
is.
That is very true.
Yeah.
That is very true. Yes.
And
Yes.
and that stuck with me. You
Yeah.
know, pastors and preachers, they repeat things sometimes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even think he repeated that one all that much.
Yeah.
But my
that one's a good
parents
one.
acted it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it stuck with me pretty heavily.
Absolutely,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So you had a lot of moves as a child,
Mhm.
and you went to college somewhere?
Nope.
No college
Mm-mm.
somewhere. So what have you done professionally? What has that been like?
So I started, I would say, in my adult life, started at Raytheon. I got to work as engineering assistant and then went on to project engineer and then project management, just kind of went that path. And I was grateful to be able to work with companies that would sponsor my certifications for the
That's
PM.
amazing.
Mhm. So I went from Raytheon to aviation, and then, depending on who's in administration will determine your jobs, right? So we had Obama in office at the time, so private aviation took a nosedive.
Everything took a
literally.
nosedive.
As we went on, I mean, we had COVID and BLM riots and things. So when I went into construction, businesses were boarded. There's not places you could work. I had actually given up and was considering moving to Guatemala to a place where we had had a little cowboy church in Utopia, and they sponsor or help to sponsor this orphanage that's in Guatemala, and they work with children that have been trafficked. And it's kind of they have a whole program just transitioning them out. And I had gone and I just thought, I don't know that Texas is the same. I don't recognize my country and I can't do any good here. I just felt like there was nothing I could do. And so I thought, well, there's no real red tape. I can actually make a difference. I was so close to moving to Guatemala after months of no work because I also wouldn't get the job. And I had applied, I think I counted somewhere just under 1,500 jobs. It was 14 and some change. And I was so close to moving. And then one day in one of my craft classes, a man came up and said, "Hey, we heard you were a project manager. Would you be willing to go to this company?" And I said, "Sure." And so it was McDonald's.
Wow.
It is.
Project manager. Who knew I would
Mhm.
graduate up to McDonald's? But you can do that.
That's really cool.
But I enjoyed it. It was
yeah.
a global division of supply chain, and so yeah, it was really good.
So,
That's amazing.
Similar, I had a transition at a time early in my profession, and I applied to a bunch of places, and I did not yet know all those doors were being closed for a reason.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, one door opened, and
Yeah.
my career actually changed. I went from being an educator to being a professional counselor. So when you're telling your story, I'm like, there it is.
Yes.
All the doors have to close, so we'll go through that
Exactly.
one door, and then everything happened after that.
Yes.
Mhm.
Boy, they do just slam shut.
Yeah.
One of the most inspirational things about that part of your story is the self-education feature.
Mhm.
In our practice, and all the authors that I admire the most and study the most, self-education is the most valuable form of education. It is the
Absolutely.
highest form of education.
Mhm.
True education doesn't come from an institution. It
That's right.
comes from the inside out. It comes from a desire to become.
Yes.
And that's what you just illustrated. And something we encourage people to do is don't focus on the method, focus on the message.
That's right.
And that's what you've been building all this time.
There it
Yeah.
is.
And I love that. I really do, because the method will change,
Yes.
but the message is what matters.
I will say I've had to tell my son this just recently. When you get to the point where you're really ready to give up, like you're done, you have already been on your knees, they're calloused over, you've spit your tears, you've done everything, give it one more day because you don't know what's going to come.
Right.
And my son, when he had gotten out of the army, he had been without work, couldn't find a job, trying to put a resume together, and only working in infantry was very difficult.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden he was so close. And I said, "Son, just focus on your relationship with Christ and then just keep applying. But right now, work on you. Like, get that relationship together." And it wasn't very long, I want to say days, maybe up to a week. Suddenly, Black Rifle got a hold of him and said, "Hey, we've been trying to reach you." And
Wow.
now he was able to get a job. So
Yes.
it's,
He's still with him.
yeah, well, he just got there. So it's been, I'm very proud for that because, you go through a lot of things, and that's probably the best advice I've been given is when you're ready to give up, give it one more day. You don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And that's a Texas business,
Yes.
isn't it? And
That
they are
means-
growing not just coffee. And for those of you out there, Black Rifle is a brand, like becoming a
Yes.
big brand,
Right.
clothing, coffee, other edible things.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
And
they've grown way beyond
Yeah,
the
they
brew, that's for sure.
I started drinking Black Rifle coffee. Man, I can't even remember what year it was, but it's been a long time ago
Yes.
Right.
when it was more of a kind of a niche thing that
Yep.
if you know kind of thing,
Mhm.
and now everybody knows. It ain't a
Yeah.
secret anymore.
We love
Yes.
it. I used to take them, when my youngest one was still pretty young. We'd go and they just thought it was the coolest thing to walk through the shop. And
Yes.
didn't know they'd end up there, but yeah.
It's kind of like Buc-ee's, like Buc-ee's
Yes.
was a Texas thing
Yes.
forever. Now they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But that's awesome.
I do. I love the prepare the soil message that you
Mhm.
told, well, all your children, but definitely your one son in that situation. Like, no, man, you got to just keep preparing yourself. That is
Yes.
our message, especially
Yeah.
when we counsel and coach. It's like, I can give you seeds all day, but if you're not ready to receive it, it's
Yeah.
not going to work.
Absolutely. And I wasn't God bless my voice. I wasn't the nurturing, let me pet you kind of. I was kind of suck it up, buttercup, let's go.
That's what they need.
And yeah, and so they're not used to that. When they call me, they really are calling because they said, "Hey, we know you're either gonna pray or you're gonna scold us for something, and we probably need it. So let's just do it."
So they
Okay.
call expecting.
Expecting
There
it.
it is.
That's
Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of nice.
That's awesome.
It is nice.
I love that. All right. So if we need some encouragement,
Yeah.
some,
Yeah.
we're going to have to exchange numbers
Right.
because,
Yeah.
we get a little motivation.
Jen, it's
Yes.
been a rough day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the new slogan
it
for
up,
the
Chuck.
Jen Mack
Yes.
campaign is going to be "Suck it up, Buttercup,"
That's right. That's right.
and vote for Jen. So that's good. That's great.
Yeah.
So currently, are you working to manage a job at this time as well as running the
I
campaign?
was, but husband and I talked about it, and we just decided it'd be best to go ahead and let that go. And not to mention, when you work for a corporation, usually there's conflicts of interest with
Mm,
that, and
yeah.
so I didn't want to come to a place where I respected my superiors so much. I didn't want them to have to make a decision. So they knew where I was going, and so we all just sat and talked, and it was just the best path.
I
It's a
would bet,
full-time job.
based on what we've gotten to know of you so far and hear from you so far, I bet they'd welcome you back with open arms.
They
If
would.
ever the opportunity
Yeah.
came for them to get you back,
Yes.
they'd be happy.
Yes, they were wonderful. They did tell me the same thing. I don't know, maybe they'll change their mind after they see the campaign, who knows? But I worked with some really great people all around the world, and it's very different than working with just
Right.
the U.S. There is no feelings. There is no. It was probably one of the greatest places because when you're dealing with other cultures, you just get your work done. There is no, hey, listen, that offended me. We need to talk about this. You
Mm.
just show up, you get it done.
Right.
Nobody cares. Just
Right.
do it.
And the
And
truth
it's
is, even
great.
here, nobody
Yeah.
cares.
right.
They're only using it as an excuse
Yes,
to
not have to
avoid
do it. Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's right.
Sadly.
Nobody really
They
cares.
waste a lot of energy on
It's
that,
just an
Yeah, they do.
excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
So this comes to my head as we're talking here. You've built this legacy. It's a beautiful legacy with your kids, built it upon the foundation of your parents' upbringing, of you and your sisters, and you're headed in a direction. If you could go forward beyond what you're working towards right now and look back on your life, imagining it as you were someone else giving your own eulogy when you've left this life, what would you want your impact to be? What would you want the biggest moments of value to be that Jen Mack brought? That's a big question, I know.
It is. Honestly, many people want to, I really don't care, honestly, about what people thought of me. Many people want to hear, well done, good and faithful servant.
Mm-hmm.
I want the part where he says, never in this land have I seen such faith other than right here in this one. I want him to marvel at my faith.
That's good.
I don't care about anything else.
That's good.
Yep.
That aligns with the desire for wisdom. That aligns with, yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
I like that. That's profound. And for those of you in the audience and joining us throughout, there were no preparation for these questions. So when I hit her with something like that, you never know what's going to come. That's not an easy question to answer. Those are hard questions.
Right. What do I want them to say about me? That's not an easy
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
It really isn't.
Yeah. We
Uh,
use that a lot in our trainings because once we have a goal in mind, once we have a destination in mind, we will get there.
Yeah.
You know, and so these folks that we were referencing earlier that kind of live an excuse-driven life, you know, what destination is that?
Yeah.
What fruit could possibly come from that?
Yeah.
So I appreciate your aspirations to say no, good and faithful. you
Yeah,
know.
absolutely.
Something to, and a lot of folks heard this today, so they would say, that's the way I want them to talk about me.
Yes,
You know,
and
so appreciate that.
there is no, I'm not very good with the excuses. I know everybody has stories. People have been through trauma, and God help them. I did not come from, and I don't want to present that either, that I came from perfect little stay-at-home mom, and
right.
I love my parents. I love my sisters. I honor them. I do everything the Lord tells me to do. But, you know, my mom was a single mom for a while till she married my dad. And so, you know, we all come from something. And at some point, again, it's that personal responsibility. We have to decide, what are we going to do with this? And it can beat you down, and you can call yourself a survivor. You can, you know, whatever. But God didn't call us for that. He called us to be victors, and we've got to get up and do it at whatever cost. We were called here to occupy until he comes, and we need to start acting like those soldiers that occupy a region.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what put that fire in me to move on to something different. 'Cause we
I
can
really
all fight
appreciate
Me
that,
too.
Noah. And what I find to be fascinating about that mindset is so often we find in our current society this hyper focus on what was done to me or what I've been through.
Yeah,
And this narrative is built so that we can live in the victim's mentality,
absolutely.
so that we can have pity from others.
Yes.
And you know, what does it say about you if your narrative is constantly desiring pity? It says that you're pathetic. Like,
Yeah.
so I really appreciate that you have a victor's narrative and that you don't focus on, oh, this is what I've been through.
Right.
You know, in our questions, we give you the opportunity. If you want to tell a victim's narrative,
Yeah,
you can do it.
Right.
And we've had people who had that as part of their story, and we don't discount that. You know, people have been through a lot of stuff, but it's about what you become
absolutely.
from the story. It's not about the story. It's
Mhm.
about who you're going to be
Right.
Yeah.
and who you are now.
That's right.
The story was just part of the ingredients of the gumbo, as they say.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And when reactions, you know, have played themselves out, the only thing left is response. And that's where we get the word responsibility. You know,
Yes.
Are you developing the ability to respond?
Yeah.
And at some point, that's going to have to happen. And you know, you're in public service now and hoping to lead in those capacities. And it's unfortunate. I think any reasonable person that's tuning into our show today understands we have created whole bureaucracies to absolve people of being responsible.
Yes.
And that is it is a state of erosion.
Yeah.
And that the only way to stop erosion is first things first. You got to stop the erosion, then you can build it back.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you don't do that the other way around, you have to literally be honest about the bleed.
Yes.
And so I appreciate you bringing that narrative and those proactions to our state, and who knows, maybe even our country.
Yeah.
You know, because as Texas goes,
So the world.
so does the world. That's right.
Yes.
So, but yeah, let's be more responsible people, you know, and create a response, whether that's running for public office or creating a business or creating jobs,
Absolutely.
you know, signing the front of checks rather than the back. I mean,
Yes.
do something, you know,
Absolutely.
so.
Yes.
What does your mom think about this?
Oh, Lord Jesus.
That's what she said. She's praying for you.
Definitely praying for me.
What happened to my baby girl?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's somewhere along those lines. I don't think she was surprised.
Really?
I mean, not that, I mean, maybe, yeah, that I would run for governor, but just that I would do something so extreme to make a change. I will tear a system down if it's oppressive.
That's good.
I have no tolerance for oppressive behavior in any way, and I will do that. So yeah, her and my dad have had some good conversations. Should a woman do something like this? You know,
Wow.
my dad's a pastor too, So he's a lot of things. And so between, Marine and managing grocers and being a pastor, um, it's been very interesting. But yeah, they've come along. They've come
Well,
along.
there have been some really effective Christian women governors.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and honestly, it was, at the time I remember calling and I was so excited, and I was doing some street preaching and evangelism and stuff at the time and going to different countries. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to talk to these people. I saw this one get healed. It's so awesome. Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you're a woman. You should, And so we had to come past a lot of
that old school mindset.
just, hey, it's okay to evangelize.
Yeah, well, the first
And it's
evangelist in the
okay
Bible was a woman.
Was a
Yeah,
woman.
that's right.
And so it's like, not to mention Lydia creating the first church and just, yeah, it was an interesting time. So
Yes.
we're coming around.
Okay,
We're coming around.
that is good stuff.
Yeah,
That's actually pretty funny.
that is.
I like
is.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to think a portion of that is coming from a place of love. Like,
Absolutely,
I want you
yes.
to be okay.
Yes.
I don't want, because you put yourself out there, you could get hurt. And you're
Yes.
like, I think I'll be okay.
It's okay.
I'll
Yeah.
be fine. And as long as it's the mission,
Yeah.
well, then
Absolutely.
yeah.
And that's really what this whole thing is. It's
Yes.
just a big ministry.
There
Honestly.
it is. There it is.
So, have there been any, how do we say this? Have there been any course corrections in your life that were absolute surprises?
I'm sure many.
Anything that stuck out?
Actually,
Because you don't seem
I would
you don't seem
say-
surprised to be running for office. You don't.
I'm not surprised with anything that you think you're never going to do, and God's like with the angels elbow me, go and watch, this will be funny.
Yeah.
I actually, there's so many other paths that I could have gone that I thought looked the part. Even having almost being engaged to a different person, that would have ended me in that perfect little domestic situation. But there was just a fire in me that I couldn't quench. And I remember getting to the point that a lot of things were happening in my life, and I'm not good at the whole mushy like storytelling thing, but there was a lot of things going on in my life at the time that I just felt dead. I felt like I was sleepwalking. I just felt dead. And I remember one day, and it was of my own doing, absolutely of my own doing. And I was sitting at a desk one day, and I have this great job now at this point, and I just felt so tuned out, and I thought, Lord, I don't feel you anymore. I don't know where my life is going. I don't know what my purpose is. There's all this stuff happening. It was right at the cusp of COVID too. I said, all this stuff is going on. There's no way we can make a difference. It's a huge machine, and I don't even know what I believe anymore. I was at that point. Who are you? And who am I to you?
Who do you want me to be?
Yeah. And do you have a place for women? Because I grew up in that old time church. And so I can't explain what happened to me that day, other than I remember getting suddenly feeling so sick, and I ended up under the desk. I was curled up. I felt like I had chills, and I couldn't reach my phone. I wanted to call 911. I couldn't reach my phone, but I could see these messages coming up, and it was people saying that I hadn't even talked to in a while. Like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but I feel led by the Lord to pray for you. And you could see the notifications, and I just couldn't get to it, and I felt like I was dying. And I was like, I'm gonna die under this desk. I didn't have my breath. I didn't know what's happening, and I just kept seeing, and there were probably 3 or 4 of them popped up. We're praying for you. I don't know what's happening, but we're praying for you. And then I just felt like 20 pounds left. And
Like a loss of the burden, like the burden lifted off you.
yeah, and then I heard God's voice audibly, but not in my ears. It was like in my spirit. And he said, go back to the things you did before. You've called out the false teachers. You've called out these things. Go back to the things before, or I will remove my lampstand from you. And I'm Googling it, right? Well, it's Revelation.
Mhm.
And so I'm sitting here saying, God, I feel like I don't have your light anymore. I don't know who you are anymore. I don't even know if I believe in you anymore. And something happened, and that was probably the most life-changing moment that I'll never forget. And I haven't been the same since. I got up off the floor. I told the gentleman, "You're not my husband. I This isn't where I'm supposed to be. I gotta go. I don't know what God has, but I gotta go." And
Wow,
That is awesome.
that's a big pivotal
Yeah.
moment.
it was.
I call
Well, I
those-
congratulate you on that.
Yes, I call
Thank
those
you.
deliverance moments.
I
Yeah.
think so.
They either deliver from, and then they eventually said, now I'm gonna deliver you too.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's what you
Yes.
asked for. You know,
Absolutely.
I mean,
I
that
didn't
whole,
know.
that whole experience was an answer to the question. I think we take that lightly.
Yeah, we do.
People say, ask God. Well, if you ask, you're gonna get an
You're
answer.
gonna get it.
May
That's
not
it.
like it.
Yeah,
It may be
Yeah.
a little bit painful in the
Yeah.
moment
It
when it
definitely
comes.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
ask, seek, knock is a real passage.
Mhm.
And so look at that. That's a great testament. I
Yeah.
love it.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing. I feel absolutely confident that everyone can relate to those moments of feeling out of sorts, feeling disconnected, feeling a bit lost, feeling like disappointed,
Yes.
feeling just without direction or focus in a moment. And to take responsibility for that and take ownership of that and then keep going,
Yeah.
that's inspirational. So well done.
Well done.
Thank you.
That's it.
I can only speculate that you will receive that at the end
Yeah.
of days. Well done.
Yeah.
Thank
That
you.
you'll get
Yeah.
that admiration of your faith. That's really good.
Thank you.
No, thank you. That's good. We need, as a society, we need more people who are faith-based, faith-oriented,
Mhm.
and confident
Mhm.
in that, willing to lay themselves out there, being open and honest about themselves, about what they've been through, who they are, their why.
Yes.
Mhm.
Well, faith
So
is the
thank you for that.
precursor to proaction. So
Yes.
you got to have that first.
Mhm.
You know that we will go somewhere.
Yes.
You know, or we will be brought somewhere. So,
Yes.
I think if more people did operate like that, they will stop looking outside themselves so much.
Absolutely.
Like, what are you going to do for me?
Mhm.
Nothing you can't do for yourself.
That's right.
You know, I mean,
And that's the big question. You know, when you decide to run for office, that's the question everybody asks. What are you going to do for me?
yeah,
I'm like, I'm going to give you the power to do for yourself.
Oh, that's great.
that
I am
is.
not a savior.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That's a perfect segue to where we're headed next.
Ooh.
So we're at this time we're gonna move into our transition, but we've got a couple of questions left. Chuck, did you have anything you'd like to ask or say?
Just a comment, just thank you. Thank you for bringing your message today, and we're gonna hear more of it. I'm gonna include some of our friends. They're eager to jump in, I'm sure. But just appreciate you being very honest about your entire journey, you know, the good and the not so good.
Thank you.
And definitely the transformative times. People need to hear that it is possible. You're
Yes.
not stuck where you are.
Absolutely.
There are better places and better ways. And so I just thank you for coming and bringing that message today.
Thank
I'm
you.
excited to see what happens
Yeah.
next. We'll be keeping up. So yeah,
Me too.
yeah. Rob had some special things to go through, but thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I've got two questions that I ask every guest on our show.
Okay.
They're my favorite two questions. But you've been amazing. Thank you for sharing your life through us and to our audience and to us. But the two questions are, the first one is if there's somebody out there watching this, and invariably there will be a young woman watching this who is inspired by you, who says, man, I don't know what she's got, but I'd like to get some of that. I'd like to be like that. And let's say she's 16 or 17 years old and she looks up to you, even though you're kind of short, she still looks up to you. What advice would you give her?
Do not let others despise you for being young. Just get the word of God in you, because if you do not recognize right now that you are in a spiritual battle and a holy war, then you're on the wrong side already. And even in politics or whatever it is that you go into, but even with politics, they're not even fighting with policy anymore. It's
Boy, ain't that
actual
the truth.
spiritual things that they're bringing up.
Mm.
And I would say, first and foremost, nothing else matters. Get the word of God in you, and and just live and breathe that and figure out who you are in him and then figure out who you are in the world.
That's good.
That is-
I like that. So my very favorite question
Okay.
of all our questions. You never know what's going to come out of
I
my
don't.
mouth, right? So that's what my wife tells me all the time. Where do you come up with this stuff? But if you could go back in time and talk to the little Indiana Jones girl, which I'm so disappointed that you didn't bring the whip and, you know.
I know.
hat.
Yeah.
But no, if you could go back in time and talk to yourself, if you could whisper some sage advice in your own ear at about that same age, 16, 17 years old, what would you tell yourself?
Mm,
With the wisdom that you've acquired from now, looking back, what advice would you give to yourself?
I do not know, other than maybe this isn't it. Give it
That's pretty
another day.
profound right there.
Yeah, this is not the end. This is one chapter in a huge book. This is not the end.
That's good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
And it's so it's so poignant because so many times young people, especially girls at that age, they've matured faster than the boys, and the boys are chasing them for their reasons.
Mhm.
And they feel like oftentimes that their life at that moment doesn't have value or purpose beyond that.
Yeah.
So that's great advice that this is just, there is more.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is
No
great.
matter what the situation is, this is not it. And your worst day on this earth is your hell. That is as bad as it's ever going to get for you.
Mm.
And so if you could just make it through that worst day, there'll be another.
That's great.
That
Yeah.
is.
Don't give up in what feels like the worst day.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely.
That's good stuff.
Mm.
Very profound. So I'm going to give you some gifts. One of them is a gift that comes with responsibility. Are you ready for that?
Sure.
Okay. So the two guys sitting on either side of you, and even at least one person in our audience, in the studio audience, is a member of a club which you're about to join.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, being that you are a professed Christian, do you know the golden rule?
Yes.
What do you know as the golden rule?
As the golden rule is treat others as you would want to be treated, but it's really love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah, that's very good. That's very good. That's what everybody pretty well says as the golden rule. Do unto others as you'd have to do unto you.
Sure.
I challenge it a little bit in that there's a little more to it than that.
Mhm.
It's do unto others as you'd have them do unto you if the roles were reversed.
Yeah.
So the challenge is to impart empathy into ourselves
Sure.
about other people. And in your current endeavor, I couldn't imagine a more valuable trait other than empathy and the practice of that,
Yes.
because that's going to be enormously purposeful and valuable for you. So I won't tell you the whole story, but you are about to be inducted into the Golden Rule Club. Okay? And the story is, the abbreviated version, is that there was a company that started this around the time of the Great Depression, and this was the practice of this, the inculcation of this rule, was the salvation of their company. And they went on to become the biggest luggage manufacturer of the world. Can you guess who it might be?
The biggest luggage manufacturer.
Yes.
I'm ashamed to say that I don't know any brands of anything.
Okay.
Audience?
Purses,
Anybody?
luggage.
Anybody in the audience got to guess?
Clothing.
You cheat.
Yes.
No, you can go ahead. Say it.
The luggage company?
Yes. Okay. Well, it's Samsonite.
That's what I was gonna
The
say.
Samsonite Luggage Company. So I'm going to give this to you. And inside of it is your very own, and I'm going to show you mine, your very own Golden Rule marble.
Nice.
And the challenge is you're now charged with carrying that on your person at all times as a reminder that in every endeavor you undertake, that you build it on the foundation of the Golden Rule principle.
I love it.
So mine's been in my pocket long enough that you can barely read it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
So
it
you
is a cost, but
you get the chance that if you know you're in the presence of someone else who is in the club, you can pull your marble out as a challenge.
I love it.
And if they don't
Challenge
have,
doing.
if they don't have it, they have to donate to a charity or a cause that is worthy. Hmm.
I like it.
Yes. So welcome to the club.
Thank you.
Yes.
What an honor.
So no, it's been an honor to have you with us. And there's one more gift that you get here at the Pursuit of Purpose. We have, as far as we know, a very unique, one of a kind tree.
Yep.
And on this tree grows money. And every guest that comes on our show as a victim and sits in the hot seat, they get to pick a fruit off of that tree. So if you'd like, I'll pick it for you, but one of these belongs to you.
Yes.
It's a souvenir from from your interview, from your victimization of being on our show today.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to get it, or would you like me to get it
I'll
for you?
let you get it.
Okay.
I'll let you get it.
So there you go.
Thank you.
It's your very own Pursuit of Purpose Certified Leadership $2 bill.
Wow, I love it.
So you get a couple of souvenirs.
There you go.
So at this time, we're going to transition into a question and answer portion of our show. We are going to allow the audience that is in studio with us and the audience joining us through YouTube, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, X, or TikTok. Now, if you'd like, you guys can ask questions. Does anybody in the studio audience have a question they'd like? Go ahead.
You talked about responsibility, personal responsibility, and also giving them power. How are you gonna do that? And what things are you gonna do to give them that power to get up and do it themselves? This is their personal responsibility.
Yes. Really, it's just doing what I'm doing now, reminding them of our foundation and our founding documents. For instance, we have a lot of things when I talk about the list of grievances that we have the power as the people to do something, but we feel like we can't. And so there, we've got this feeling structure that's keeping us from doing what we have the responsibility and the duty to do, which is to disobey tyranny. And so based on our state constitution, Declaration of Independence, there is a duty that if any law or policy is passed, it is our duty to disobey this thing and to not treat it as a law. It is not a law at all. And it is also our duty when a government becomes abusive and destructive to alter, reform, or abolish it and come in with a new government. And so that is the power I'm trying to push towards people, that you have the right to change this. If you've got to go in with your whole county region and go say, hey, Mr. Chairperson, it's time for you to leave. You didn't fulfill your oath. You didn't fulfill your oath of office. It's time to go.
It's a great question. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of times, even though we know the politicians are doing their own thing, but nothing's being done. And it's the
Yes.
same question that keeps happening, nothing's being done. I mean, what can we do as citizens for them to be accountable for what they did? That's the problem. right?
Yeah. So I'm going to answer that in kind of a two-part, or respond to that rather. They count on you being busy. That's pretty much what everybody says. One particular faction of people tend to be working all day. And so they say, hey, we don't have time to deal with this. We just simply don't have time to do it. We don't have time to go figure out who the politician is. We don't have time to fight what's going on. The problem with that is, I know that you're busy. They're counting on that. But your children are going to eat the fruit of your silence or the fruit of your voice, period. At the same time, the politicians have the responsibility to be beholden only to God and to the people of Texas, or the US, depending on who we're talking about. And so when we create these, I guess, circuses, really and truly, bread and circuses is what we've done. And so we say, hey, go vote on this proposition for Sharia law. Well, there's already a dual government in place that says you cannot have, or excuse me, two documents in place that says you cannot have a dual government. So really and truly, on the executive branch, if someone is impersonating a judge, you go and arrest them for impersonating a public official. We don't need to get the sentiment of the people to fulfill our duty. And so it's really a two-part. The people are going to have to start standing up and take some time. We take off time from work because we just need a day off. And if you would take that time and go address your leaders, I think that use that time more, I guess, in a different way, we might see a change. But it's going to have to come in a larger number. So we've got men that are stepping up. And one of the biggest things is we need to get our men back to their watch post. They have been completely pulled down either by women, by government, or by their own fear of retaliation. We've got to get them back into that place. And the best thing I would say is there needs to be a bridge between men and women right now. There's a movement of repealing the 19th Amendment, which is absurd. At the same time, women have gotten into this feminist action, and so they're busy fighting with their husband instead of fighting alongside them to protect our kids, to protect the nation. And so I would say first we need to bridge that gap between the men and women. Let the men do what the men need to do, which is address the men that are in office. And then also, first and foremost, address the spiritual things, because those are very much there. This is a spiritual war. So when we go to these committee hearings or we listen to people speak on policy, you have people like a certain person running for senator. I don't want to say the name and give him publicity, but he's running for senator, but he would not talk to the Republicans about their policy. He would say, isn't it written in Matthew, this, and this? Isn't it written in your Bible that you need to be kind to the sojourner? Well, it's also written that as a sojourner, you need to obey the laws of the land. It is also written. And so this is very much a Jesus with a Satan conversation happening in politics. So we need to understand the spiritual aspect of it. We need to understand the physical aspect of it. And then we need to stop being so divided. And those are the things that if we go alongside each other and just start showing up, we're going to see some changes.
I really thank you for that
Yes.
question. I
Thank you,
really
yes.
appreciate your perspective about something that was early on when you were answering the question, that it's not just about our ability to act. It's our duty.
Yes.
It's our duty
Yes.
as American citizens. If we want to keep the rights and privileges that we have as Americans, it is our duty to protect them from those who would sell out in their position of, and you called it this. I'm gonna correct you a little bit. I'm gonna argue with you.
Okay.
You called them leaders.
Yeah.
I don't call them that,
Right.
because they're supposed to be servants at the will of the people.
right.
And they've taken it on as a position of leadership and power when it was never meant to be that.
Mm-mm.
In the original form, those who served in those positions also had to have full-time jobs.
Yes.
They weren't set up to be made billionaires or millionaires just
That's
for
right.
serving in office because lobbyists line their pockets, or they were able to influence trading and benefit themselves.
Yeah.
This is horrifying what we've created. And I say we've created because, believe it or not, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, we did this.
Yeah.
Not they, we.
Right.
We did it by allowing it, by becoming complacent, by not acting in our duty.
Yes.
This is our duty,
It
to
is.
protect this great experiment.
That's right.
And they can only lead or govern or whatever it is that they're going to do. The governance can only come at the consent of the people.
Yes.
And the problem is, because we get busy, we have consented for them to
That's right.
continue acting the way that they do. And so we have to decide what we're going to do about that. And we've seen it. We've already seen it work, right? Where people were not listening to the men in the UK. And then Tommy Robinson comes along. It took him a couple of years. And he kept getting arrested, small groups. But now he's got a massive group. Now they're starting to listen. Now you've got Rupert Lowe stepping up and others. El Salvador, people say, hey, don't talk so much about, Jesus. You're bringing God into everything. We've already seen what happens when you give a nation back to the Lord with El Salvador.
Mm.
And they are very prosperous. Without an Orwellian surveillance government, the crime has absolutely come to just about a halt.
So thank you for that.
Yes.
Those are great,
Yeah.
great
Thank you.
positions. Yes. Do any of you have any other questions? Go ahead.
I'm of the opinion that the ideal political candidate will ensure that the office that they seek has less power when they leave than it does when they come there.
Yes.
And I've not seen that take place in my lifetime yet.
Yeah.
So what power does the governor's office hold currently that you would limit, first and foremost, increasing individual freedom?
I would actually.
That's a great question.
Yeah, that is good. I would say right now the governor needs to act within what they're already given. Truly, to act with what they're already given and understand the purpose. The purpose of that position is to stand between the people and the legislation. And that is not happening. And so I would actually go full force into that. And if anything, working to limit the government as a whole within Texas, not just that position, but as a whole. I will utilize anything within that position to limit it. And that could be simply bills that come across the desk. You do not have to sign everything. You just don't. And at the same time, every legislator or every congressman that gets put in office does not have to pass a bill every time. The idea is that you protect the rights that are already in place. And so my goal would be to make sure that they are transparent, first of all, with the people. And if there's not, then you make sure the people have a full understanding that if there needs to be another session for that office to be replaced, then it does. But if they're not fulfilling their oath of office, then that needs to be taken out. Same with the governor. If the governor is not committed to put Texas first and the people of Texas, which means if the federal government comes in and says you need to do these things, then we say, federal government, you do not have supremacy over the state. You stay out of here. So the governor should be protecting and standing between the people as the executive branch and the rest of the government. And that's not what we're seeing. So I haven't seen that there is necessarily that there's so much power in that position as the wrong power has been exercised.
Yes.
It's actually very limited in that position, to be honest with you. But it can be powerful for the people if they just simply act on the people's behalf.
So to piggyback on that and something that you said in your answer, thank you, by the way, and
Yes,
thank you for that
thank you,
question.
yes.
Great question. You mentioned the word transparency. In my humble and potentially useless opinion, we have almost lost all transparency
Yes.
in our local, state, federal, all of it. There's almost it seems almost impossible. Like I asked a question a while back. Can you track a single tax dollar? Can you track one?
No.
And I wasn't able to, and I pay lots of taxes
Yeah.
on everything all the time. And in that same realm, you mentioned about signing bills
Mhm.
because that has, that's germane to the office of governor. So would you be committed to absolute transparency for every bill
Yes.
that comes across the desk of the governor? Because I don't believe currently we are.
Right. I think truthfully, one of the things I want to do is that when the bills come through, I want there to be a summary for every person to not just be summarized by the person who wrote it, but it must have what is this going to cost every citizen, whether it be financial cost, monetary, or liberties.
I like that.
And
Yes.
that is something that would be the best way to be transparent to the people.
I love that you said that because so often we are caught up in the financial cost of things, and the liberty cost is hidden, and the greater cost, the greater expense is the liberty expense. We have given up so many liberties
That's right.
Yeah.
that were ours by divine right and protected by our state and national constitutions, and we just sat complacently and
Yeah.
apathetically by and watched it all happen.
Yeah. If you're curious as to what that means, I'm talking to the audience here, and not just the live audience, but the folks that are tuning in. How many times in your maybe just last few recent years have you gone to do something that was common maybe when you were a child or a young adult, and you realize you can't do that anymore? Oh, that's not permitted. We're not allowed to do that. You go, when did that happen?
Mhm.
That's liberty. That's when liberty gets taken away. And we've had it with our, we're operating motor vehicles and various other things like that. And then, well, once they're gone, it's hard to get those back.
Absolutely.
And that's the erosion of liberty, which is what one of our founding documents was to protect those liberties for sure.
Mhm.
And then something you mentioned, I did want to bring up, in this day and age, I don't know that any other time, I think most everybody, for sure in our studio audience is above 40 and up. And so we have seen this growth of the exchange of information. We're using tech right now that we did not have just 10 years ago. So you can't tell me we can't publish this information coming out of our legislatures or coming across desk or other people who prepare these documents for potential laws, how easy that would be to post those somewhere. And maybe they are, but I don't know about those. And I presume our audience is in their responses, I don't know about them either. So why is that not, I'm not asking you to answer per se, but I'm asking you maybe as a participant, which is what our candidate is encouraging, why are we not demanding that that information be made public? And be made public in a way, I mean, especially with editable technology, we ought to be able to publish it in a way that I don't have to be a lawyer to understand it. And because if I go to vote, usually there's the candidates, and then the flip side are all these policies that we get to vote on. And it says, well, here's a synapse. Pretty much you vote for this, is what you're going to get. Wow, that wasn't hard. Thank
Yeah.
you. Now I can decide. And so I challenge our current layers of government, both local, state, and federal, as well as, potential leaders to say, no, we're going to produce these things so that our folks will be informed. And informed people, maybe that's part of the threat. Maybe they find those folks dangerous.
Absolutely. Well, you have to remember, you are the government's biggest source of income.
Yes.
They are not going to vote themselves out of that. And so even when they talk about the property taxes, it will always be a discussion if we don't actually just do something. And so they need you to keep paying into those things. We have agencies that have become governmental agencies that should not be. They're massive, way too big. And so we need to go back to governing at a local level and just do it within the description, do it within your job description. That's it. I would say, and I'm told this often, the governor just doesn't really have any power. No, they don't per se, if you look at what everybody else does. But what they have is so magnificent if the people will use it. If the people will use the governor to do what needs to be done, it can really give all of that power back to them and get to a place where you're consenting how you're governed. So that is my plan. That's my hope.
Well, veto power is pretty precious.
Absolutely.
And you touched on property taxes, and that's a big issue
It is.
affecting all of us here in Texas and across the nation, but specifically here in Texas. And as governor, you don't necessarily present all the bills that affect it, but you can agree or disagree, and you can carry out the will of the people.
Absolutely.
Where do you stand on property taxes?
I believe that they can actually be, and I from the first sale, but recurring property taxes could actually be gone within 3 to 5 years if people choose. But like I said, you have to choose, because I have a lot of homeowners that will say, we're done with this. People are losing their home. It's the most important issue for certain people. It is the single issue because they're facing losing their home, a home that's paid off. And I know a lot of us have the stories. My grandmother had to leave. She had a paid off home. Developer comes in, property taxes go up. Now she can't afford a home that is paid off 35 years. And so I hear that a lot. But then when I mention abolishing property taxes, then I hear, what about the schools? So this is the part where I say personal responsibility. We're going to have to make some decisions. You need to understand that when you reduce the property taxes, you've reduced the government. And so you have to be okay with that. Is that what you want? If it is what you want, I absolutely think we can do it within 3 to 5 years.
So if you piggyback on that answer, and then you talk about the size of bureaucracy, and you look at the school system, we are burning billions, potentially trillions of dollars on unnecessary bureaucratic positions
We'll
in
just
our
call
school
it,
system right now.
yeah, we'll just call it money laundering.
Uh,
This is
it-
exactly what it is.
I've been to Austin a lot,
Mhm.
and there are offices full of people, and during COVID, they all went home and they were all receiving these big paychecks, but there are offices full of people who don't even really know what they do. They do paperwork, or they whatever, but they're doing busy work all day, and they're getting paid more than most teachers.
Mhm.
And they
some-
don't serve an effective purpose that actually serves the people of Texas
Right.
or the children of Texas.
Yeah.
And that is unconscionable
absolutely
to me. I mean, I'm just, some crazy guy sitting on a podcast, but would you be willing to offer or allow that system to be looked at?
Oh, it needs to be 100% audited.
And
because
yes,
So when you think of any government cartel, mafia, or any other system, when you go into the money laundering side, they pick a place that's service, right? They're not going to go to a store
Right.
that has retail. They're going to go to a bowling alley. They're going to use a coin laundry, right? It's a service. Dry cleaners, whatever. It's a service. It's easy to hide.
Yes.
I hate to say it, but the education side has been a service.
It's the
easy
biggest
to
thing.
hide.
Yes.
And so the budget was so incredibly inflated this go around. And yet we have seen such laundering going into Islamic agendas, going into massive administrations, uh, embezzlement of funds, even within the administrations. It's not getting to the teachers. It's not getting where it's supposed to be going. And then somehow the teachers kind of get caught in the middle of the political fighting between the parents and the administration. And that whole administration side has just gotten so incredibly big, and it's so easy to just move money. LGBTQ agendas, different having pornography in the schools, and then fighting parents for coming in and talking about it, telling parents they shouldn't be in those meetings. And then just to know that if it wasn't just a few years ago that if you were a parent going to a school board meeting and discussing such topics, you were put on a terrorist watch list, and that's in the White House archives. So we need to realize that it is time for us to step up. It's past time for us to negotiate our rights away. We need to step up and start doing something, because if that can happen at one point, a little sleep, a little slumber, and the thief will come in like in the night and take everything.
Yes. And what else? It's the small foxes that spoil the
Yes.
vine, right?
Yes.
So a lot of these things happen so small, so incrementally,
Mhm.
that it just seems, that's no big deal. We'll let that one go
Mhm.
in a negotiation. But the truth is, that was the stepping stone, the gateway
Right.
into this entire
Absolutely. That's
nightmare.
what started our the revolution. What started our entire American Revolution started with small antagonisms.
Mhm.
And then finally you get put into a corner where the corner disappears.
Right. And as an audience, I don't want our audience to allow yourself to believe that we're at a place of failure. This is just human nature. It's going to happen. This is why we have starting with our founding documents, and in the few years to follow, we put some almost irrefutable, well thought out products in place that are being applied still to this day. It's only by human nature that we're going to trend in those ways. And that's why if you look at every other country really in the history of the world, we're the only one that started as a republic. The rest all shifted from a monarchy to some version of some hybrid, if you will. And why a monarchy? Because that's the trend.
Yeah.
And so if we don't do things with purpose and stand up for these liberties, of course we're going to keep trending the way we're going. So this is not an impugnment of any way. It's just really a lot of it's just an information and education. We're trying to draw out these passions and then apply these passions so that we don't lose what we naturally will give up.
Yeah.
You can see it many occasions. It will happen. It's just the way humans operate. So don't be offended. Be proactive.
Mhm.
Yeah, so-
Yes. If you don't, we will have universal slavery. If men do not stand up and do something now, and God help the American church, and I am very hard on them, because a pastor should be a shepherd that fights a lion and a bear for you. That is what a pastor should be. And what I'm finding is Christians will sit and have these conversations, but they won't actually do anything because they think they're supposed to be passive. There is nothing in scripture that promotes a political despotism. In fact, it does just the opposite. And this idea of Jesus's passivity, there is nothing that I see in scripture that he wasn't completely defiant of what the government was doing to come
To his
against
death.
God, to the point of death. Yes.
Yes.
And so I would just say, hope and hoping that something is going to happen. Hope is not a strategy.
Mm.
It is not a strategy at all. And so you're going to have to get to a place where you stand up and you decide on your own that you're going to get up and do something. It is not too late. It is not too late. If you have breath to breathe, it is not too late. But it's about to be. We have a very small window. And so I hope that you take this very seriously, and that you do get up, and that you do rise up on your own.
Oh, that's great. It's fascinating to me that you put that way. Yesterday, we did a live show and we talked about hope versus discipline, and that hope is actually a fantasy. It's an excuse.
Yeah.
It's a way for people to operate and adopt a victim's mentality.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping things will get better. I hope my marriage will improve. I hope my job will treat me better. But the truth is, it's our responsibility.
Absolutely.
We don't need hope and change.
Mm.
That's done. That was the biggest lie we were sold as the American people.
Yes, it was.
Hope doesn't bring the kind of change you want.
That's right.
That's right.
Hope brings everything that we're seeing right now and calling out as a problem.
Right.
Yes.
Because hope encourages you to sit back and just, let it happen.
Yeah.
Believe that somebody else is going to always have your best
Yeah.
interest at heart.
If people use hope as kind of maybe supplying a vision, supplying a magic, that's fine. That's great. But at some point, there has to be that discipline that we talked about yesterday on the live cast. And we had really good feedback because I think folks really do get it. They understand that that's the only way they got to where they are, and they want more. And that's fantastic. Now, go back to your Jesus reference. A lot of times folks come in for counseling as a professional counselor, and I guess they see that they can see the evidence around my office, as a Christian, and I presume they're expecting more hugs than slugs. And I go, oh no, other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to go back and read the book.
Yes.
Yeah, he was as much of a slugger as a hugger. I
That's
promise
right.
you. And I say slugger euphemistically. I mean, he was a confronter.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with confrontation. That just
No.
means face it front to front. So I appreciate you, taking a position to say, we're going to face this front to front.
Yeah.
That's confrontation.
Yeah.
There's no other way to make all the proper alterations and to get to all the preferred conclusions. There's no other way.
And you can't defeat something you won't confront.
That's right.
And so a lot of people are very, just have become very passive because they think they're supposed to as a Christian.
Right, right. Well, you talked earlier in our interview today about a lot of that there's a purpose and not a good one with this growing. I guess it's either an impugnment of taking positions. Oh, you're wrong if you take a stand,
Mhm.
and then this promotion of passivity that never works
Mm-mm.
ever. We can be patient. If I have a plan, I can be patient with a plan, but I can't be passive. I'm just moving around the problem,
That's right.
and here we are.
That's right.
We've got somebody on TikTok who's made a comment, and I'm gonna mention it because I want to let you speak on it a little bit. This is Blue Lady. It says, "Stand up, vote blue, and save America." So I'm gonna say something crazy here that some of our audience may hate. They may stone me in the studio. Who knows? But what I'm gonna say is, there's no color gonna save you. The truth is what you got to vote for. It doesn't matter what party somebody aligns with. You need to find out what they truly are about. Party is just a manipulation. And I see very little of the actual truth from either of the red or blue. And while I may align as more of a constitutional conservative, I'm an independent thinker. And I won't let anybody tell me to vote red or blue.
Mm-hmm.
And I would challenge you, Blue Lady, and I'd like to hear your take on that.
You need to understand what you're fighting. This is not, to your point, it's all deceptive. At this point, everything is a lie. The world is a stage. We're going to have to wake up and start seeing that. There is no two-party system. We've already seen that everything is so incredibly split on if we'll go red and blue, then the blue side have become, you either have your old Kennedy type, you have your terrorists and toddlers, or you have your socialists. And we know what socialists bring, right? And then at the same time on the red side, it is split in ways I never thought I'd see, where pro-Israel versus anti-Israel, pro-establishment versus the people not being heard, data center being such a split. Everything is so split in so many different ways. We really need healing across this nation.
Yes.
We need to stop fighting every time they try to split us. It's red versus blue, it's black versus white, it's man versus woman. At some point, we're going to have to start seeing it for what it is and get back to the roots. And that's really what I'm trying to do, is just get us back to the roots. I'm not telling you to leave your party, but I am telling you need to get back to the roots of where we were, who we are, where we came from.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
I like that. And so often I feel like and maybe you guys in the audience, maybe you on TikTok or YouTube, wherever you're joining us from, maybe you can chime in on this. But so often I feel like the data center or the LGBTQ, whatever the letters are today, or the red or the blue or the whatever. I feel like all of that is pushed in our face, and we are taught to be impassioned about it, whichever side you fall on,
Mm-hmm.
so that the real stuff that's going on in the background,
It's not dealt with.
you're blinded to it,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
and they can do whatever they want. And when I say they, I hate saying they, but when I say they, I mean those that have been put in positions of supposed servant leadership,
Yeah,
Mhm.
who are using it to manipulate
absolutely.
the people for their own
To
gain.
get power.
Mhm.
And I'll prove it to you. So when you go to vote in the primaries, the purpose of the primary is not to vote on propositions. You'll never get that closed if you keep bringing in other things. The only purpose of a primary is to vote in a party leader, a leader of your specific party who will then run around July, August to begin running into the actual election. That is the only purpose. And so then what happens is you have people on the Democrat side that say, well, I've already got this one over here. We want to make sure that the Democrats win. So I'm going to go in as a Republican so that I still get to win. Same thing with Republicans. There's not one good
Yes.
or bad guy here. They're both bad. The Republican will do the same and say, well, it's very important that we stay red. We got to do what we can do. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and come in as Democrat. That way somebody gets in. So it is all a game. It is all breads and circuses. That's all they're handing you. And so you're going to have to start paying attention. And that's why it's important for you to take responsibility and to know who you're voting for. You must vote your conscience. And I'm going to tell you, I'll be the first and probably only one. I am not for everybody, and I am okay with that. And so research who you're going to vote for. Research, have an understanding, know who you're dealing with, because that's the person that's either going to manipulate the system or they're going to actually stand up and fight for you. And so there's a lot of good people out there that come under a color or a letter next to them, but we've got to put the whole gang colors off to the side. Stop fighting each other.
The gang colors.
The gang.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And I
Yeah.
mean,
It is.
everybody knows that no matter which gang you're in, they all lead in one direction,
Absolutely.
either in jail or underground.
Right.
They don't end positively.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
So thank you for that. Does anybody in the audience have any questions you'd like to ask? Go ahead.
So you talked a lot about your background, and then now you've talked about parties. What party are you? How do we find you? How do we vote for you? Where are you?
So I am an independent, which means you're not going to find me on any of the parties. I'm going to be a write-in. So all you have to do is write in Jenn Mack. 8 letters, very easy. JENNMACK. It's JennMackForTexas.com. If you're going to actually look for me, find me on the platform. But I have chosen not to be a party just based on my own conviction because of this whole mess. Because I see that, if I truly believe, and I'm going to just say this, I believe there can be revival in the Democrat Party. I believe there can be redemption in the Republican Party. I do believe that. But I believe that we can't wait for that. And we have to keep moving. And if they go back to who they were before, if they go back to protecting the Republican form of government that we have, then things can move a little quicker. But in the meantime, I have to stay independent. And so I have a lot of people trying to pull me towards one specific way or another. And she's secretly a Democrat trying to run the Republicans, or, she's Republican just trying to split the votes. I'm a result of the vote split, not the cause.
That's pretty well put.
it is.
I appreciate that. And I'll tell you, you're fighting an underdog's battle.
Yeah.
And that's something that I personally can get behind. I like that perspective of where you're coming from and where you're going. And there's a lot of us, especially here in Texas. Texas understands the underdog.
Yes.
We have a saying here in Texas. Do y'all know what it is? Remember the what? Yeah. The Alamo, the very symbol of an underdog story,
Yeah.
right? So, we lost one, but we sure came back and put a
Whooped
whooping
them.
on them,
Yeah,
didn't
we
we?
did.
So,
One of my favorite parts of that whole story is the decision time. They drew a line in the sand. Colonel
Yes,
Travis did.
that's right.
Step on one side or the other. So here we are.
And I'm telling you, that's where I'm at. That line in the sand, I
Yeah.
say that so much. I
Yep.
just am at that place where it's like, here we are.
Right.
We either lose the republic or we keep it.
Yep.
But we have to decide that that's what we're going to do.
And I love the challenge that you're throwing out to the people, that you're going to offend them into voting for you, and you're going to help them see that it's not lost. We can correct this with a simple realization that the power is ours.
Yes.
The responsibility is ours. The duty is ours. I love that
Yes.
word. You
Yes.
started out using that word, and that's so powerful. Too little times do we act with duty.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, we've
And-
lost the art of civic duty.
Yes.
We've lost the art of it because of the whole entitlement and what are you going to do for us? And I hear that so much. I do. What are you going to do for my group of people? I think. I am here.
I love it.
I am here for Texans. So if you ask me,
Yes.
what are you going to do with my particular race of people? What are you going to do with my faction of people? What are you going to do with my type of company? Nothing. What are you going to do with it?
Mm.
I'm trying to give you the power so that you can step up and do something.
There you go.
That's beautiful. I like what she's saying is that I'm not here for the special interest.
Mhm.
I'm here for the interest of Texas.
Yes.
That's, man, that's very refreshing to
Yeah.
say the least. Do any of you have any questions in our studio audience before we close?
I have one more.
Yes.
Go for it.
I think we can solve a lot of problems with education. And, you know, property taxes could be one of them. Almost 50% of property taxes go to a local school district that's gonna build a sports complex and not educate their children. So if educating the children today in the correct way to think independently like you do is one of the best solutions for the outcome being lower property taxes. People can keep more of their money,
Mhm.
so they decide what they want to do with it. And we privatize the education system in the next 10, 20 years, or in our lifetimes even, so that the free market decides what education survives. And people get to decide how their children are to be educated, eliminating a lot of property taxes.
Mhm. That should already be in place. That should already be in place. Because the laws that are in place right now are completely unconstitutional and go against our rights. So the property taxes being gone, it doesn't mean that all taxes are going to be eliminated, right? So you still have your consumption tax, which I believe is the only fair tax that you could possibly have, truly. But there would still be property taxes because you have corporations coming in like Blackstone and comes in and buys in bulk
Mm.
houses, right? Keeping it to where nobody else can really get a chance to purchase anything. You have people who have houses here, but they don't live here. You know, it's a second home, maybe they're snowbirds, whatever the case is, they would pay those taxes. This would be for, you know, if you've got 2 or 3 different homes, you're gonna have to pick one that you're not gonna pay taxes on. So it would be your homestead, it would be your primary residence, right? And so the state doesn't just suddenly lose income, so you'd still be able to supply what's needed within your local government for the schools. Now, me personally, and I can't put this into place, the people would have to put this into place. When you've got people paying taxes that go into a $62 million stadium for children to play football, you know, I've got my own personal thoughts about that, but it shouldn't come out of taxes. At that point, when you're taxing people to that point of tyranny, you remove all option for generosity. And so that should be something where people are donating to something like that, not forced out of your paycheck, especially if you don't have kids in that area. So to your point, yes, getting us back to a local form of government, getting us back to where we have a consumption tax. There are people already working on this, great, wonderful people who've been working for years and have tried to present this on multiple occasions. I know Don Huffines has been working on stuff like this. I think his plan was around 7 years or something. I think it could be even less than that, but again, it's going to have to be the people to decide. And it doesn't, the first thought, especially if you're a teacher or in education, is, well, what is that going to do for us? You're trying to get rid of our jobs. No, it would mean the money goes where it's supposed to go, which is the teachers.
Yeah, it would create much higher earning potential
Yes.
for educators. If we privatized education, then the best educators would make money like doctors.
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't they? why wouldn't you pay the best the most you could to the best in the business to do what, for your kid? That's amazing.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
One question to go with that, what
Yes.
about people who don't have kids? I mean, we're paying taxes and we don't have kids in schools.
Exactly.
Why are we paying?
Right.
I mean,
Well, and so you'll consider, are you talking about the consumption tax I was talking
no, I'm
about?
talking
or-
about the taxes for school districts that, you know, I don't have any kids in school.
Mhm.
Why am I paying
Yeah,
for somebody else to go to school? I already took care of my kids.
Right.
Why am I taking care of my kids?
yeah. So your property tax, a huge amount of that goes to the school. The consumption tax is a little different. That's gonna go to other areas like the EMS, it's gonna go to your fire, your local law enforcement, things like that. As far as splitting that up, I'm not sure if that's maybe what you
Well, with
mean.
the everyday law, like for, it says if you don't have kids, you don't have to pay taxes.
I could not answer to that. I don't think that would be a, yeah, there's no way I could answer to that. I- Yeah,
It'll be,
yeah.
it'll be something that I would want the people who are in charge to get to.
yeah,
you
that's
know,
gonna be all
Mhm.
legislature.
Right.
Yeah,
I understand.
yes, ma'am.
You had mentioned, bills that had been introduced to eliminate property tax. There are a lot of good bills. The problem is these bills get killed in the House floor through committees and things like that. As governor, how could you overcome that?
Have a special session. Put that as a priority. You have to make the decision to do that. And then you can't have a special session and then talk about state names. You're gonna have to actually deal with the property taxes.
So what do you think, this is speculation, okay? What do you think is the motivation currently avoiding special session?
Personally, dollars, interests.
I only bring that up because it's germane to where we're headed in an election like we are right now with all the big money candidates.
Yeah.
And you're basically the David facing the Goliath.
That's right.
It's important for the people to understand why this matters. We don't go to special session because it would mean the potential loss of big money.
That's right. And if I may, I'm gonna be an advocate for both sides for just a second.
Go for it.
Again, this goes with personal responsibility. This is just something I'm
Yes.
seeing now that I'm in, kind of being thrust into the politics. There are legislators that are assigned up to 300 different lobbyists that keep them very busy.
Mm.
And the truth is, money has to keep things going, period. Whether it's nefarious or it's for the good of the people, money is a tool that is going to keep things going or tear things down. At the same time, they're keeping them so busy that the constituents can never get to the legislators. I don't know how easy it is for you to reach your House rep, but I know for us it's been difficult. And so if they are tied up with lobbyists and with bureaucrats, but then at the same time over here, you want a candidate that's going to serve you. But sometimes I hear you want a candidate to be your slave. And so if you want a good candidate, you're going to have to get behind them. Even if you don't pick me, go to whatever you need to do, but you have to decide that you're going to support them by way of word of mouth. And if you handle finances, if 14 million people gave $1 to their favorite campaign, that would blow everybody
It's a
else
game
out of the
changer.
water.
Yeah.
It is. And so you have to decide, who do you want in office? What are you going to do to keep them there? And at the same time, you're going to have to learn to follow the money as well, because that's what's keeping their schedule so incredibly booked.
Thank you.
Mhm. I'm just trying to be honest.
But you're doing more than try.
Yeah.
You're offering it out there with
Yes, yes.
vulnerability and honesty.
You are definitely being
And we
honest.
appreciate that.
We're willing to
And
try.
I really hope to see more candidates for other offices like you willing to do this independently.
Yes.
It's a rare and difficult thing
Yeah, it
to
is.
do what you're doing.
And I will say for anyone who chooses to support me financially, there are smaller amounts that go on the website, but anything larger, I do make a very strict rule. I don't care who you are. I don't care what company you own. if your sentence starts with, can you do this for me? Or will you do this for me? Or what will you do for me if? We hang up the phone. So if your heart isn't in it, I can't take it. There's nothing I'm going to be able to do for you. It's going to have to be because you chose. And so that's going to be the difference. You need to find people. And again, if it's me or somebody else, you need to find people who cannot be bought.
I love that.
Yeah.
And what you have to realize, people, is that when we sit idly by and allow the reds and blues of the world to run everything, they're not the ones being bought. We are.
Yes.
We are the ones being bought and sold in this corrupt mess that we've allowed to take place. And we are the ones being treated like a battery for finances. It's our money that's being stolen and misappropriated, not just in Texas, but across the nation and throughout the world. And it's lining the pockets of those very people we put there to do it
Yes.
to us. And they're not doing it for us, they're doing it to us. But we're to blame.
Yes.
If we want to see change happen, it's going to start with people like Jenn. So take your chance, get to know a candidate, and follow them with passion and support them with your vote and with your finances and with your word of mouth. Get out there and talk about this. This is important. Like, there's no better way to really get this machine fixed than to talk.
Yes.
Use your, that thing that we do so often that means nothing. We waste our breath so often saying stupid things or, whatever. Use it for a good purpose. Raise awareness. Talk about something that really matters. And believe it or not, it's really easy for the news to talk about something that, gets headlines and gets attention. But what matters the most is your local and state government. That's what impacts your
That's right.
paycheck the most. That's what impacts, your life the most, and what's going to happen with your kids' education, like we've been talking about. What's going to happen with your job and your paycheck and all that stuff. The national stuff has the least impact on that. And you don't have to like it or agree with it. It's just the truth. This is where the rubber meets the road, right here, just like this. These kind of conversations. So get involved. Make a difference where you can. It's your duty. It's not just a right or a privilege. It is your duty.
Right.
Does anybody in the studio have any questions? Go ahead.
You brought up the idea of if 14 million people gave $1 to the person they support, that they'd have enough money to go after and do whatever they want, right?
Mhm.
With you being such a outspoken Christian, and Texas is the buckle that holds up the Bible Belt. Are you sitting on a enormous pool from all these churches that are supporting you? When we have over 50% of the states says that they're Christians, and you're probably the most outspoken in terms of supporting what the Lord calls you to do.
Yeah, I would say the churches are probably the most fearful to come out and support. Either because they still believe the lie that the Johnson Amendment is affected them. Again, if it goes against your rights, not to be considered a law at all. So there shouldn't even have to be anything done with that. But I will say this. I believe that I've heard my challenger has upwards in the hundreds of millions of dollars in a war chest, right? I believe we can get this done for less than 1% of that. Truly. If we get more, then praise God. But I believe we can get that done for less than 1%. So before you say, well, he's got this massive war chest, we're not going to be able to fight it. It's a very small amount that's needed, truthfully, and we're in a place of a very, again, small window. Our state capital has become a whorehouse. The skirt of Texas has been lifted way too long, and it's time for us to give her dignity back, and let's put it down together. And the way we're going to do that is to be able to fight. And yes, if you have a church, a local church in Texas that would want to participate or have me visit, I'd love to come and talk. Yeah, we're absolutely open to that. But yeah, I'm not sitting on some massive reserve.
Right.
have been self-financed to this point. So,
That's amazing.
yeah.
If your church is, has its reservation, sure, fine. But if you're a member of one of these churches, you host.
Right.
You got a backyard, and then invite your friends who are probably going to be people you worship with to say,
Yeah.
hey, this candidate is speaking our language. Let's give her an audience. Let's ask questions. Let's some forums here. So be proactive. Don't wait for someone else to get organized. I mean,
Yeah.
we just called and said, hey, you want to come by? And here
Yeah.
she is. It's really that simple.
Yes.
So get
Yes.
involved. And give, and not just money, but your time, your energy, your support, your prayers, because that's the only way to create a void that the Creator can fill. Make a hole, man.
Yeah.
Be generous with your time and energy, even if it's just a phone call or a support or what have you. Yeah, that's how things get done
Yes.
at every level, starting at the local level, as Rob was mentioning earlier, all the way up to Austin, and beyond. But get involved locally, because I guarantee you, look around where you spend the bulk of your capital. That's your time and your energy, the tires that you have to change every so often, all that. It's right here on these roads.
That's right.
It's not on national roads. It doesn't go far or too many miles beyond where you live. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing,
Thank you.
thank y'all for getting involved.
Yes.
Well, as we close, is there anything else that anyone would like to ask or comment? Anyone?
Jen,
No?
I want to say welcome to Songs.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so
I
much.
have a question about how do you plan, or what is your message to engage the younger generation of voters?
I would say be as authentic as you possibly can within your community, within your church, within any groups that you're in. If you work at any colleges, we are lacking a mentorship that was around when I was younger, and it was already starting to dissolve. What I have seen is I had a young man come and drive all the way from San Antonio to Dallas, and he came and sat at a meet and greet because he's tired of mommy and daddy fighting. And when I say mommy and daddy, I mean government, red and blue. He's tired of it. He's tired of the get out and vote. I know that's kind of a big thing for everybody. He's tired of being pulled, and he just wants the truth. Even within the church, you tell us John 3:16, no one's telling us about 17 and 18.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to give them the truth. They are starving for it, whether it be within politics, whether it be within the church, or within your own backyard. They are starving for authenticity. And if you will just simply do that, they will start engaging more. They will. They need a place, because the truth is, no matter what you want to say, they're again, certain factions say certain things towards the younger groups, and you cannot sell the lie that our economy is good when they've got master's degrees in their 20s and can't find a home or a job. You're not going to sell that to them. And so just be as authentic as you can, and that will start engaging them.
Authenticity. I love that.
Me too.
That is a wonderful message.
Yep.
Well, thank you for all of you who have joined us in the studio audience. Thank you to our TikTok audience, YouTube, Facebook, X, Kick, Twitch, all the different social medias that are out there. Thank you all. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
And we've got a whole stream of comments that we didn't get to on TikTok, but
Yeah.
there's been a lot of complimentary things said about you and your message. And we
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you sharing your life with us and your story with us. Thank you for allowing the Pursuit of Purpose podcast to be a vehicle for you to help get your story out there. Is there anything that you'd like to close with? Why Jenn Mack?
You want to give the nation back to the Lord and the power back to the people. That's really what this movement is about. We have got to decentralize the government. We need to end the era completely of the politician and put it back into the people's hands. And the only way we're going to do that is if we move in together and this become a we the people movement. So that's really what I'm trying to do.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes,
Mhm.
ma'am.
I just want to say, I think it reminds me of Charlie Kirk. He was trying to give the power to the kids, to the young generation, and I feel that you're trying to do that for everybody, not just the young.
I don't think there's a bigger compliment to get,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you for that, man.
I don't know your stance on Charlie.
Yeah.
I personally, I actually, Chuck may think I'm nuts what I'm about to say, but the day Charlie was shot, my voice came alive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I won't say that it's I wish it wouldn't have happened the way that it did. I despise that.
Yeah.
Right. At the same time, a sleeping giant was awakened.
So I would say, let's not let it be another tragedy before we step up and start, because I did the same thing. My kids did the same thing. They introduced me to him, and something shook, and it sparked a movement. But we can spark the movement now without the murderous lust
Yes.
for death that we have right now.
Yes.
Let's get it. Let's all come together and let's do this.
Well, I'm going to say thank you for your fire. It's not just a spark. You really do bring some passion and commitment, and you're putting out the actions that belong with duty, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Texas appreciates you, and I hope you win. So you guys remember those 8 letters, right? Jenn Mack. It's a write-in.
Yes.
It'll require just a little bit of effort.
Yeah.
Yes. You got to write the letters, JENNMACK,
That's
right?
right. It's the most honest form of electing that you can do, because nobody's dead relative is going to be able to vote for me. And they can't remove my name from the ballot, and they will physically have to hand count it.
I like that.
Yeah.
do too.
Well, we really appreciate you being here with us. It's been an honor to share you to our audience. For all of you out there, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for allowing us to become a part of the pursuit of your purpose. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Question everything in pursuit of